YouTube, what's up there? Kenny here, also known as SongFan85. I don't know about the rest of you, but when I was a kid, it's a bit cliche, but gaming saved my childhood. I grew up in and around Grand Prairie, Texas, near downtown Dallas. For those that don't know, Grand Prairie, at least back in my day, had a pretty bad gang problem. I grew up in public schools. There was a lot of it wasn't out on the streets, but there was violence going through. There was drugs, and even in the public schools, it was visible if you fell into the wrong crowd, or stuff like that. Now, it wasn't as bad as movies make it out to be, or like Law and Order makes it out to be, but the possibility was there. Um, and most of my friends at the time fell into that pitfall. Gaming reference noted. Um, and the thing is, checking my sound levels because I just did a quick glance over. But the thing is that gaming saved me. I had a PlayStation. I was really into Final Fantasy at the time. But before that, I had a Sega Genesis. Before that, a Super Nintendo. Before that, a Nintendo. Before that, an Atari. And so on and so forth. Thus, started my gaming career, for lack of a better word. And then it turned into a major hobby, and then it turned into a lifestyle. Now I'm in my 30s, early 30s now. I've grown up with gaming probably far more than most people have. Been more involved with gaming far more than most people have. I haven't collected as much as most people have, but I have my own small collection behind me. I've worked in video game stores, about 4 different ones, for the majority of my real life working career. Made a living off of it. I obviously have this channel, which is a big hobby for me, as well as gaming itself. I've used my knowledge to make money in one way or another. So it's been both a hobby, it's been a career, it has been a passion to explore different worlds, to enjoy a video game, and to escape. But as you get older, you start to notice that sometimes you can't just escape, and video games just become what they are. Video games. For most people. For me, it still is what it is. I still play video games to escape. I still play video games to enjoy them. And nowadays, I play video games live on the internet so y'all can enjoy them with me. A lot of people throughout your life, if you've lived the kind of life I've had, thankfully things are changing with this new generation. But people would look at me. I don't know about the rest of you. I know some of you have gone through probably the same thing, but people would look at me and they would ask me what I do in my free time. I'd say, I play video games, play a lot of video games, read books, stuff like that. They would look at me and they would just be like, you play video games at your age? It's like, yeah, no, I even have a YouTube channel and I stream, do charity work. And you still catch glimpses of people that look at you like you're some child. Like, okay, all right, that's cool, I guess, And I know a lot of people might get that nowadays, especially if they find out that you play video games. But thankfully, again, that's dying out. But you still get it every so often. And that's the norm of society. And I've never been ashamed of it. I've never been one to count myself out because I'm into something that was at one time deemed childish. People nowadays play video games like it's nothing. It's a normal way of life, but it took a bit to get there. It evolved within society. That's the inevitable fate of society, is that once something is introduced, if enough people start following it, whether for good or ill, it evolves and becomes the norm. Now, only time will really tell if it stays that way. But gaming was one thing that really helped me, and now that it's become a norm in society, I was really glad to be part of that transition and to see society evolve and accept gaming as a way of life, as a really cool hobby, much like sports or board games. So, with that said, with the evolution in society also comes the growth in the community. Gaming communities are notorious for being full of horrible people, especially on the anonymousness of the internet. I say anonymousness, that's not a word, but I've never been good at saying anonymity. Okay, anonymity, I just said it. And with being able to hide behind a screen comes the worst people to ever come out. And unfortunately, it's not just on the internet nowadays. There's also a lot of hatred and bad ill intent popping up in the real world as well. Now, it's always been there, but it's been dragged out lately, kicking and screaming. But the internet itself, I think it has all it's done is just multiply the notoriously bad characters in gaming. Back in my day, in arcades, you know, you had some assholes that was just like, oh, I can kick your ass, and all this and that. And we're talking scrawny kids talking like there's some muscle-bound jock. I'll kick your ass left and right on the screen, so on and so forth. And there was an etiquette in arcades. You know, you put your quarter up, next person up, it was your turn, so on and so forth. Spent a lot of time in arcades. And it's a shame that they're not around anymore, or at least not as much as they used to be. But, again, stuff evolves. It becomes more in-home. And then, of course, the internet comes along, and here we all are now. You're watching this on the internet. I'm uploading it to the internet, and that is the hub. So, inevitably, when you join gaming on the internet, you become a part of a community of whatever game you may play. For example, Ark, World of Warcraft, probably the biggest gaming community I'm a part of. Online role-playing games, online shooters, Call of Duty, so on and so forth. And some titles are notorious for having a terrible community. But, with that said, much like representing the real world, there are good people in those communities that will not call you a noob, they won't call you an ass, they won't call you whatever the hell they may call you that they think will bring you down another level. Shit talking, as it were, without friendly intent. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people out there that talk a lot of shit that spew hatred. Hatred. Pure hatred. And you'll know what I'm talking about. If you play online, you've come across it in one place or another. They'll talk about your mother, they'll talk about your family, your sister, your skill, you as a person, you're probably fat, you know, so on and so forth. All because you maybe lack skill at the game. But, again, as I say, there are good people. And I witnessed that tonight. And I'm lucky to say I witnessed that a lot in my streams. I just got done streaming Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm almost done with the game. But, two notable people in my community. Jared and Chewbacca. Chewbacca is another streamer, another YouTuber. Jared's been hanging out on the Horizon Zero Dawn streams a lot. And it's really cool to have such a thriving community and have such good people in it. And I'm also very lucky to be associated with very awesome other YouTubers and streamers at the same time. I don't want to leave them unnoted. But Jared and Chewbacca showed me tonight as I watched chat scroll through. You know, they talked about games. There was one point of view that was just like, the game was kind of killed for them due to some graphical defects. And the other end of it was, well, it didn't ruin it for me, so on and so forth. And these guys did it in a communal way. They talked and they respected each other's opinion. And it was very cool to see this. And then I got to thinking about it as I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which the basis of the story is one people against another. One people attacking another people because they're unworthy, or because they're different, or because they have different practices, or they see them as evil, so on and so forth. Again, a total reflection of the real world at the moment. And unfortunately, it'll probably always be that way, but I'm one of those naive people that I believe that humanity is bound for something far greater than the current state that we're in now. But that's for another video. But anyway, to see this in the gaming community, a community that is notorious for having people that say horrible things, was really, really cool, and again, a breath of fresh air. And again, it happens a lot in my chats. There's very awesome discussion. I don't deal with trolls, and it's been a while since I've had to ban somebody. Now, don't take that as a challenge if you're watching this randomly and you don't know my channel. But it's very cool to see that in the community. It's a really cool reflection. And while I'm talking about this, at the same time, let me go ahead and thank y'all again for hanging out with me and being very cool about stuff. Because during this stream, I kind of went into a rant, kind of like I'm doing now with this video. I'm just kind of rambling, but I went into this rant talking about No Man's Sky and how it has, even to this day, still so much hate. The thing about No Man's Sky and the thing about other titles like this is, and I forget who it was, but they made a good point, the hype kind of killed it. Now, I'm not really one to follow hype. I'm one of those people, I look at something, I take it in, and if I like it, I like it. So there's that. It's very uncommon for me to follow hype. So when I saw No Man's Sky, I saw the game itself, I saw the gameplay, and I looked at what it had to offer. I took it with a grain of salt, but at the same time I saw it, and I was just like when I saw Ark, I was just like, oh man, this could be awesome. So I got it, and I still enjoy it to this day. Now, let me just go ahead and note, I don't do No Man's Sky on my channel anymore, mainly because there are other games that I'm playing. But I still pop into No Man's Sky every so often, both on PlayStation 4 and on PC. I'm probably one of the few people in the world that have it on 2 different platforms. That's how much it's hated. I even had somebody pop in on my No Man's Sky stream when I was playing it. Some random person, again from the internet, saying, enjoy your shit game. This game is shit, so on, yada yada. I ended up banning them. But one thing I made mention of in the stream, though, I said, I made point to point out that gaming is art. It's like a book, it's like a movie, it's like a painting, story, a fable, or anything else you want to compare it to. The creator of the game, even if one person, most of the time, with people and creators, even if one person enjoyed their work and come back to it, that's what matters. And I think they can see their job done. So, even if a game didn't sell millions, even if it did, even if you enjoy it, that's all that matters. So, you know, there's that. But again, with the community, I'm really, it's really cool to see such niceness on it, and to see it on other streams as well. And one thing I would also note is that if your game is comprised of gaming, if your life is comprised of gaming, if you're a hardcore gamer, if you spend a lot of time on video games or books or movies, and people look at you in a weird way, or any other hobby that the social scene doesn't deem worthy or adult, well, not adult, but grown-up way of doing something, and it brings you joy or passion, who the hell cares? You enjoy it. It brings you enjoyment. It helps you escape. It helps you get away from real life for a bit. Now, don't do it too much, because then that's when you start to develop problems. But enjoy it. thrive on it, even if other people can't do it themselves. Even if they're affected by an outside source and all that joy is drained. I count myself as one of the lucky few because there are very few, in fact I can't even think of any right now, games that I don't enjoy on some level. There might be a few that I criticize, that I used to criticize as, well, those aren't really video games. The truth is, if it's a game on a digital platform, or an analog platform for that matter, it's a game, it's a video game. It's something that somebody enjoys, even if it's on a mobile phone, even if it's a game on Facebook, or a web browser game. It is a game. There is a point to it, and you're hopefully having fun with it. So anyway, I'm going to cut this off here. It's just a quick gamer log about gaming community, my community, enjoying what you do, finding passion in it, and never letting the world tell you otherwise. See ya.